Erica from Ever Educating, and this channel is teaching tips, tools, ideas, and resources for new college instructors. This week's theme is teaching literature, and so today we're going over 3 different assignment ideas for you to use in your literature course. You can tweak these if you're not teaching literature to still apply to the courses that you do teach. And if you want the assignment sheet templates, you can see the course linked below. So the first activity is called the one paragraph. And so in this case, it's a way of making sure that students understand the 5 or maybe 6 elements of writing literary analysis. So the one paragraph will actually equate to 1 page as well. So you can call it the one pager. But basically what students will do is they'll write their thesis at the beginning of the paper, and then right underneath, they'll write 1 paragraph. And that 1 paragraph will start with a topic sentence. It will have close reading and analysis. It will have a so what discussion, why does analysis matter, and potentially it will have the citation, right? One research source be included in their analysis. And so in this way, you can make sure that they understand all these elements of literary analysis in one succinct piece of writing, okay? So not overwhelmed with having to write a whole paper. It's literally 1 paragraph and the thesis, right? And so you can assign this early on once you've already shown them all the elements of literary analysis writing. And they can just create this 1 pager or 1 paragraph based off of one of your readings that you assign to them. That way you can collect it and get a sense of who's understanding these elements, who's not. Is there a pattern? Maybe a lot of them are confused about how to cite a source in their paragraph, right? Maybe a lot of them are lost on how to write a topic sentence that summarizes what the paragraph is about, and so on, right? So this is I recommend doing early on to get some kind of assessment of how students analyze their literature and what they need help on going forward. I also highly recommend doing a group project in your literature course. My literature courses are very discussion based, and so I always do a group project in which groups of 3 have to lead their own literary analysis discussion in class. And so this can be an activity that they design themselves. It can just be, hey, you've created a list of questions that you're going to ask when you're facilitating a discussion. That's great. Or it might be, I'm going to create a Kahoot game where that's the foundation for our discussion. Fantastic. Maybe it's a pair deck slides where they have to anonymously answer questions to start discussion. It's up to them to decide how they design the activity, but basically for 20 or so minutes, they're leading the discussion themselves rather than me doing it constantly. And so I have the whole assignment sheet linked below in the course. I also have a blog post that talks about this assignment that I'll link as well in case you just want to access that for free. But I really think group projects are important for helping students with collaborative work, but also to help them have partners for designing literary analysis activities, right? Because you can do it individually, where each student has to facilitate part of a discussion throughout the semester, but I think having a partner or 2 can help them feel more confident about leading these activities. I let them choose their partners, so really, hopefully they can find ones that will work well with them in the semester. And then this activity, I've actually only done in 1 course, but students really liked it. And I thought it was helpful because since I teach Gen Ed literature courses, students are there because they're required to be. They need to just check off that Gen Ed off the list versus being actual English majors who are fascinated by literature. And so what I did here is a presentation, an individual presentation, where they have to connect one of the things we read in class to their major, right? And so in this case, we read quite a few novels in the class. And so I divided, okay, 3 of you will present on each of the novels, right? So you can choose which novel, though it is a bit of a first come, first serve, right? So they have to put in their name in the slot in connection to certain novels. But they can do whatever they want in the presentation as long as they're connecting their major to the text. And so students at first were a bit confused, like, well, my major is mechanical engineering. How did I connect that to a literature course, to reading fictional novels? Well, one of the books you read was Cinder, right? So why don't you talk about, Cinder, the protagonist is a cyborg, okay? So how can you connect your engineering information knowledge to the fact that she exists as a cyborg, right? And so, I had an anthropology major, right? And they connected one of our fantasy novels where they had different types of dragons, and they talked about evolution, the potential evolution of a dragon based off of different evolutionary theories in anthropology. And so, in the end, students were like, I liked having to make the connection because it made me see this class as more relevant to me than I had before being assigned this activity. So it's a great way for them to practice presentation skills, practice making connections between literature and the real world, And it also gives them a better sense of, well, why can this course actually matter to me in connection to my major, in connection to what I actually am interested in. And so I do think this is an activity that can really work well. And again, it's one that was scaffolded throughout my course because they had, 3 slots per novel that we read basically, or 6 slots maybe per novel, depending on how many you assign. So really recommend. I think it went well, and it was fascinating what students came up with in connecting the text with their majors. Next week is our last week where we talk about multimedia, so tools to use and assignments to give to help students with their multimedia skills, creation skills. So if you don't want to miss out on that, go ahead and subscribe below.